Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Rain. I'm Rachel, and with me is a mug I got while I was on vacation. It says the show must go on. It says XO Freddie. So if you don't know, that is of course the lead singer to Queen. But anyway, the show must go on. And we don't have coffee today, we have tea, but you know what? That's all right. It's a nice, warm, comforting beverage. We have books as per usual, and we had a really great thunderstorm roll across Huntsville earlier today, and I think we're in for some more. So I am certainly waiting for that. But we are going to go ahead and dive into the first book I am recording today, which is called We Live Here Now by Sarah Pineborough. Now, I've not read anything else by Sarah Pineborough yet, but this one was really intriguing, and even though some of the characters were not super likable, it was a very captivating tale. Like, I was really more on the edge of my seat with regards to, like, previously in one of my previous episodes, there was a book that everyone kept quote unquote calling gripping. This one was far more gripping to me than it was than the other one was. So, my personal thoughts: this one would be the gripping suspense mystery. It is expected publication of May 20th of 2025. It is approximately 400 pages in hardcover. I did have the audio version from NetGalley, so thank you to NetGalley for trusting me to provide honest reviews. Now let us dive into the summary and we'll go from there. After an accident that nearly kills her, Emily and her husband Freddie move from London to a beautiful Dartmoor country house called Larkin Lodge. The house is gorgeous, striking, and to Emily, something about it feels deeply wrong. Old boards creak at night, fires extinguish, and books fall from the shelves, all of it stemming from the terrible presence she feels in the third floor room. But these things happen only when Emily is alone. So are they happening at all? She's still medically fragile. Her post-sepsis condition can cause hallucinatory side effects, which means she cannot fully trust her senses. Freddie does not notice anything odd and is happy with their chance at a fresh start. She, however, starts to believe the house is haunted by someone who has been murdered in it, even though she can find no evidence of a wrongful death. As bizarre events pile up and her marriage starts to crumble, Emily becomes obsessed with discovering the truth about Larkin Lodge. But just as the house has secrets, so do Emily and her husband. It is considered horror, mystery, thriller, gothic, mystery, thriller, and fiction. I did again have the audiobook, which was really engaging. I want to say this book was somewhere around 8 hours. So with my sped up speed that I tend to enjoy reading books on, I was able to finish it on my drive back from Pensacola the other day, and was really, really captivated by it. So, again, I do not find that the characters of Freddie and Emily to be very likable. It's like I want to like them, but I certainly do not end up liking them. Just far too much happens within the story. They are very flawed individuals. They both have kind of done some deeds, done some things that are really detrimental to their marriage and to just kind of, I don't know, just in general kind of crappy. So I will tell you some of the things that are not spoilers, and then I will try to leave some things on the table that would be spoilers, because of course the book's going to lead you in a couple different directions, which is what a good mystery thriller should do. Is this a murder mystery? Are we solving a murder? Technically, no. And I say technically because, of course, as the summary said, Emily is convinced a murder has happened in this book, or in this house, I mean. Even though She has gone through the history of the house and she has looked for people who have passed, unfortunately, in the house. The only person she can really find is a husband and wife who wife had been an actress. They had moved into the lodge, they moved out, then they moved back to the lodge, and he supposedly passed away from cancer. So that's the only death she can really find, and his remains are still on the grounds. Technically, she finds his headstone, but there's a whole lot more to the story than that, and it really does get very, very good and so very atmospheric in a lot of different ways. So we first start off with Emily, and I don't want to say kind of waking up or coming to because that's not really the right word, but she has moved into this new house. Well, it's not new, it's of course old, that her husband has purchased while she's been in a coma. We start to kind of learn what has happened through flashbacks and various things, kind of her exploring her memory, trying to really figure out what happened, him kind of flashing back to the event as well. And I'm not sure that's really going to be a spoiler, so I will probably delve into that in just a minute. But the house has a haunted feel. So before we dive into what happened to Emily, Emily is in this house, and it's a 3-story house, and she has been pretty much badly broken. She's considered very beautiful, at least according to the way other characters describe her in the book, but she feels kind of fatally flawed now that she has been broken. And what happened, and I'll just kind of be vague about some of it, is she and her husband Freddie, as well as 2 other couples, so a total of 6 individuals, Emily and Freddie, as well as 2 other couples, were hiking and Emily fell. You're welcome to have as much speculation as you'd like regarding the situation, and maybe you're right, maybe you're not. I'm not going to tell you anything, but she fell off a cliff, and she spent quite a bit of time in the hospital. She got sepsis, and then her body was failing her, so she was in a coma for 3 months. I don't know if it was a medically induced coma or if she was just in a coma for 3 months. However, she did survive, and now she does struggle to walk. She struggles with fatigue. She's not fully on the mend with regards to her, of course, her affliction. But her husband had seen this house on her computer as something that she had saved for a potential place to move to, get away, to start fresh. And while she was more or less incapacitated, he went ahead and decided, okay, let's do it. We're going to move. She seems to have wanted this beforehand, so we're going to go ahead and make it happen. And then off they go. This is it a haunted house? One could argue absolutely yes. There's a lot going on in this house. The thing is the haunting only within Emily's mind, or is the house really haunted? Because Emily seems to be the only one who feels like things are moving, or a fireplace is burning when she leaves a room, but then she comes back and it's not. Windows are opening in the middle of the night. Her husband Freddie just thinks it's her doing it, that she just doesn't remember, that she's having sort of a psychotic break perhaps, or maybe she's having these hallucinations with regards to the house. Freddie is constantly cold in the house, constantly cold. So he is constantly also complaining about her opening these windows. And the couple, Emily and Freddie, are almost always at each other's throats. Their fuses towards each other are burning on that last millimeter towards each other until an explosion's going to happen. So They just cannot seem to get along within this house. So there is some sort of energy, because when they both leave, things feel lighter, things feel brighter. They don't feel so angry. They start to question why they were feeling all these feeling all this animosity towards this other person that they love. Now, some things happen to Emily while she's in the house. Books fly off the shelves, end up on the floor. She sees maybe words or such spelled out in the titles of the book. Who knows? I'm just saying, there's a lot of things going on in this book. And so you really will toy with a lot of psychological humor, or not humor, a lot of psychological trauma, as well as just, I guess, psychological horror. And maybe that's why I like it so much, because that's the type of movie I really like to watch as well. Now, giving me a true ghost movie, like really good, seeing things on the edge of your vision, in a mirror, in the background, those sorts of things, love it. It's creepy, and I like it. I don't really like slasher, just blood and gore movies. Those just don't do anything really for me. But psychological thriller is really where I love watching them. I just find them so fascinating. And so I think that's why I was really taken in by this book, and because I wanted to understand, is it Emily? Is it the house? Is it Freddie? Because we do also quickly learn that Freddie is keeping something a secret from Emily. I'm not going to divulge what that is, because I think that could be spoiler-esque. We don't really figure out what it is until a little ways into the book, but I thought it was one thing for sure. I think the book kind of pushes you in one way or another. However, her friends also come to visit. There's some things going on with her friends as well. There's some very interesting neighbor people in the town close by. So just when you think you kind of have a grasp of everything going on, we then get this other piece of information with regards to this story, and it really turns everything on its head. And this is a good haunted house story in the best psychological ways. Now, one of my more favorite books and maybe movies, I've done kind of a little, I don't want to call it a study, but a little bit. So me and my friend John, for my podcast that I used to have with my friends, Books Are Magical, my friend John and I decided we were going to read The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. So we read the book, and then we watched the various adaptations of it as well, to kind of explore how the book had been turned into these other. So there's one movie from I think the late 50s or 60s. There's, of course, the movie with Liam Neeson and Catherine Zeta-Jones and Owen Wilson. And then there is the more current series, I think on Netflix, which is really, really good as well, but all taking a different dive into this story of Hill House. I've even discovered that there is, an unofficially official sequel to The Haunting of Hill House as well. If you're curious about it, you can ask me down below, and I can go find the title for you. But that's one of the best psychological haunted house books. And this one actually follows pretty close, in my personal opinion. I genuinely think there is enough psychological that balances the house's presence and atmosphere, which really, really worked well for me. The drama and dynamics between the characters is tense, and everything is pretty on edge, but I really liked it. So I have to give it kudos for that, because I do think I finished this in about 2 sittings of just listening. I haven't, again, read anything else by her, but it does look like people Do recommend reading Behind Her Eyes. I don't know what that one's about, but that's another one that someone else mentioned. And I'm kind of scrolling to make sure I've kind of mentioned everything else that I wanted to say. The ending, I like it. I think it works. And I'm not sure I would change it. That's all I'm going to say about the ending. I want you guys to read it for yourselves and make that determination what you think. You could hate it. That's totally fine. I could be completely in left field based on the way you read it, and that's okay too, because you know what? No two people read the same book, and that's just how every book is. No two people read the same sentence the same way, and no two people will ever read the same book the same way. It may not be for you, but it certainly was for me right now, and I'm really glad I dove into it. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. I'm going to leave you wondering and pondering what could be going on in this house of Larkin Lodge. And with all of that being said, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for liking and subscribing if you have. If you haven't, I hope you'll consider it. With all of that, thank you for joining me on this journey. I will see you all on the next page. Have a great one.